Today on Gun Talk Nation, we are demystifying the world of silencers. How do you buy them? What are they for? And after you listen to this, you're going to go, oh my gosh, that's really easy. I probably need to buy a bunch of them. We're talking with Brandon Maddox from Silencer Central. Hey, welcome to Gun Talk Nation. This Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Safariland, Arms Corps, Remington, and Springfield Armory. Today on the show, we've got the man with all the answers. Brandon Maddox, Silencer Central. Welcome in.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
And pull that mic just a little bit closer to you. But so Silencer Central, as I was telling you earlier, it's I love telling people about it because it's fun to tell people about what you guys do. And then they always go, there's no way that can be legal. And I've say, if people say that, it must be good.
Yeah, totally.
So tell people about Silencer Central and what do you guys do?
Yeah, good question. So we're a dealer, and Silencer Central, we have locations in all 42 states where silencers are legal.
Okay.
So essentially a customer that lives in any of the states where they're legal can call us or buy on our website. We do all the paperwork for them, including a free gun trust. And then once the ATF approves it, we mail it to their front door.
That's the part that gets people, right?
Yeah.
You go, wait a minute. So you go online, you buy your silencer, and once it's approved, it's mailed to me at my house.
Yes, sir. Correct.
and then the next thing they say is, there's no way that can be right. I mean, how is this correct? I mean, because you guys have locations in all the states that they can buy it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, we basically have a licensed location in all 42 states where they're legal. So let's say you live in the great state of Alabama. If you bought one through us, it will ship to you from our Alabama location to your front door.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now you guys, you sell all types of brands of silencers, but then you also have your own brand.
Yeah, exactly. So, over the years, we had traditionally started with the hunters. They wanted something a little bit lighter, a little bit quieter, comes apart to clean. And that's what had us focus on the Banish line. And then obviously being a dealer, we can sell anything. So, I've been doing it 16 years. It's always hard to get inventory because I would say pretty much every manufacturer only sells through a wholesaler.
Okay.
So there's really no way to control your own market unless you have direct connections where you can bring in inventory. So it just puts you in a tough situation if you're selling a lot of stuff and you got no supply. So
I gotcha.
Yeah.
You're not waiting on whoever, Silencer Co. or somebody to send you more stuff.
Yeah,
you make your own.
Yeah, they're sending it to a wholesaler. The wholesaler doesn't care who buys it. They're selling it for the same price to everyone. So so it's based on customer feedback. And even if you think back years ago, before e-forms were implemented at ATF for the Form 3s, which are the dealer transfers, it was typically 3 months to do a transfer. So think of a silencer transfer 3 months from the manufacturer to the wholesaler, then 3 months from the wholesaler to the dealer. You add 6 months to a product before you even see it on your front door, before you can sell it. It creates a bad scenario. So that's why
That's tough.
We just decided, hey, we're going to make our own brand based on customer feedback. I worked at gun shows for about 16 years, so I've looked enough people in the eye. I know what they were looking for.
Yeah.
And that helped us sort of create a product that people are pretty excited about.
That's interesting. And what is the feedback that you get from people as far as what are they looking for in a silencer? I mean, that's kind of a loaded question because it varies.
Yeah, true.
But
that's a good question. I find that most people in the suppressor market and the silencers, they may not realize it, but once you let them hold a lightweight one, that's what they want. Because they realize that extra weight on the end of the barrel is not what you want.
Yeah.
So when you tell them our products are all titanium and you let them hold one, that's why gun shows are perfect, because you give them a steel one, you give them a titanium one, and they don't even really ask price. They're like, I want the titanium one. So lightweight's good. What's interesting is I find most customers want to take it apart and clean it.
Okay.
They want to see what's inside. They want to be able to clean it. So, just kind of responding to that market request, which most silencers in the, above the rimfires don't come apart to clean. So that's why the Banish is unique in that they come apart to clean. So people want to clean them. Of course, people want them quiet.
Sure.
So that's their biggest question is quiet. We seem to have a lot of hunters. It's almost an easier sort of opportunity for someone that's a hunter because they can see it enhancing their hunt. So it benefits their hobby. And typically they want it as quiet as possible.
Yeah.
I always say that the tactical guy, he probably wants it hearing safe. The hunter wants it crazy quiet.
Right. They were wanting to maybe get an advantage on the animal or
100%,
whatever.
100%. Yeah. And that's where I started with prairie dog hunting. So I can relate to that 100%. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Well, and also it is nice, even like in that instance on a prairie dog, where a lot of times you're with multiple people.
Yes.
If we don't have to all wear hearing protection the whole time, and we can communicate, and that's kind of a nice deal.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you explain that to someone, at say a gun show, maybe they don't get it, but once they experience it, they're like, oh, I'm totally on board. Because you'll have guys call us that say, my friend said I can't come next year unless I get one from you guys.
Right.
Because everyone else has one. So
yeah, you don't want to be that guy with the loud gun.
And the coyote callers out there in the Dakotas love it too, because they always say, if you call in 3 coyotes, you want to shoot 3. You don't want to shoot 1 and the other 2 run off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you, I mean, it does make noise.
Right.
But at least maybe it's a pause for a coyote or something to go, wait a minute, what was that? And that's maybe all the pause you need.
You know what I've seen like firsthand is once you shoot, there's not that loud percussion, so they can't tell where it came from. So they're almost stunned, like, where did it come from? So they're looking around, and a lot of times they'll hear the bullet drop behind them, and then they'll come towards you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah. So when it comes to silencers, I think you have a lot of more, it's almost more questions.
I know, agreed.
Than answers for the customers out there, for shooters, hunters, that kind of thing. I mean, what are some of those frequently asked questions that you get all the time? And you've heard 1,000 of them because you've done gun shows for so long.
Yeah. I think some people are like overwhelmed. And I use this weird analogy. I say it's like, I'm scared to pick up the Rubik's Cube because I know I can't figure out how to solve it. So it's like, just stay away from it. So I see guys at shows that kind of look and glance, and then once you talk to them, they end up buying one. But when you looked at them, you thought they didn't. It's almost they want to stay away from it because they have all these negative connotations, like tons of paperwork, tons of signatures, trust, sheriff's signature. They have all these sort of like misconceptions, and things have changed over the years as well. I think that's the biggest thing is people just have so many questions they don't know where to start. And usually what I try to break it down is I say that it's very analogous and similar to buying a truck. It's a title transfer.
Okay.
The only difference with a truck is you leave the lot with it. With a silencer, you don't.
Right.
But it's a title transfer. So the feds have it titled to us, the dealer. We ask the feds to retitle the ownership. And when they retitle the ownership and approve it, then we are able to mail it to your front door. So that in its simplest terms, that's what it is. Because just like if you buy a truck, you go to the courthouse and pay the tax on it. Right. Same with a silencer. The feds charge $200 to do it. So yeah, it's just a title transfer. And people think, well, it's at the ATF for so long. What took so long? It's just, it basically is a bottleneck. They have 40 people approving them and they have 250,000 a year that they're trying to go through.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all paper now. So that's the slow part.
That is the bottleneck. And yeah, you do all that and then you wait several months and then you'll have it. But I what I've discovered, cause I'm kind of that guy where I'm like, now I have to do all this and then I just wait. But you buy it, you do the paperwork, and then you don't think about it. We're all busy in our lives. And then it's like this fun present that shows up.
Yeah.
6, 7, 8 months later, you go, look at this. Oh, cool. I forgot I got this.
And so what Silencer Central does is we let you pay while you wait, which I always say it helps with the discussion with the wife. It's kind of like if you buy the expensive cooler and at least you get to bring it home. Whereas this, you pay a lot and then you don't actually get it. So we let people pay while they wait because, since we're the dealer, we're the one shipping it to your front door. So there's really no risk on our part for let someone pay while they wait. Because 100% of the time we call and say, hey, your silencer got approved quicker than your payment plan. Are you ready to pay it off? It's 100% yes.
Yes.
And we don't charge any interest. It's kind of like our theory is we're in the boat with you. We want it to, because we pay tons of money on insurance for them to sit there. So we want them out of there as quick as you do. I mean, that's the whole. And having done this for so long, like for an example, when we launched Minnesota, when Minnesota became legal, it was about a 90-day turnaround. Just, over the years, I've seen it as short as 2 weeks. And then during the Obama administration, I've seen it up to about 2 years. So, and when they became legal in Minnesota, we saw about a 90-day turnaround. And what we saw is people weren't frustrated. As soon as they got approved, they bought another one. Their friend bought one. It went really well. Then when Iowa became legal, that was during the end of the Obama administration, they went out to 18 months. So guys were so frustrated waiting so long that they didn't end up buying another one. They didn't want to tell their friends about it. So I've seen both sides where it's a quick turnaround. People are more apt to buy another one, tell their friends, they're excited, they jump in again. And then if it takes longer, they don't. So obviously the quicker we can get it, the better. And then if we can make it easier by saying, hey, just pay while you wait. We don't mind.
So the pay while you wait, how does that work? I mean, you said there's no interest, so it's kind of a monthly thing.
Yeah. My marketing people probably beat me over the head, but I usually say it's somewhat flexible. I mean, if I had a gun show and a guy says, hey, you want to take 200 down? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
We usually say it's break it up into 4 payments. So put 25% down.
Okay.
But, if you call our sales guys, they'll work with you.
Yeah.
So we just say put something down because we're fronting the $200. So we're going to pay the tax stamp.
Okay.
We're going to do all the paperwork. And that's a good clarification. We mail it all in as if you paid the whole thing. We're not, we don't
it's not waiting until it's paid up.
No, yeah. we submit it. And so while the ATF is waiting to process it and approve it, we're letting you pay with no interest. So I know my CFO doesn't necessarily like it, but I think it's in the spirit of we're in a boat with you. We want it done yesterday too. We all win it if it's quick.
Yeah. Yeah. So people understand that silencers are not silent.
Sure.
But it does make it quieter.
Yep.
What are the other advantages?
Good question. So I think a lot of people forget recoil reduction. And a lot of people will ask, it's funny, I was out with the guys at Meat Eater the other day, and they were asking me a lot of questions about, like, is it the same as a brake? And I said, yeah, it is essentially equivalent to a brake. And they put on their guns and they tried it. They're like, you lied. I was like, really? They're like, it's better than a brake. So we typically say if you've got a brake on your higher end rifles, higher caliber, it's going to do the same. So recoil reduction's good. Like you mentioned, you could talk to other people while you're, shooting. And then also the hearing protection, of course, people think about. So OSHA says 140 or less is where you want to be. Pretty much everything we sell is 140 or less.
Okay.
So you don't have to wear hearing protection. Some people still will, it's totally up to you, but, I don't. When I hunt, definitely don't.
Yeah. Most people, if they're honest, they don't really wear hearing protection when they're hunting. Now it depends on the gun, obviously, of how loud it is. I mean,
Sure.
You have a 300 Win Mag is still pretty loud. I mean, it may be hearing safe, but it's pretty loud on with a Banish, I would imagine.
Well, so I would say you're going to see in the high 160s without the silencer, and you're going to get it into like the mid 130s. So it's going to be less than 140. So
yeah,
it's going to be hearing safe.
And then there's ones that are amazing, like a subsonic 9 or a 22, where people can't even believe what's happening right now.
Yeah, totally. And I always say if you want a crazy quiet, typically a bolt's better. So anytime an action opens, that's going to be about 125 decibels, just the racking of, say, like an AR. So if you can keep a bolt action, that's always going to be the quietest. But back to your other question about some of the other benefits of silencers, I was trying to think, we typically see people that'll speed up the velocity a little bit. It's almost like having extra length on the barrel.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's important is recently video games have started sort of depicting it as slowing it down. So it's good to clarify. A lot of younger guys will be like, oh, it slows your bullet down. It's like, no, chronograph it. It'll actually speed it up.
Yeah.
And then also we see it tighten bullet groups. You're just,
it does do that
extra weight on the end of the barrel. So, if you tell a guy, okay, you don't have to wear earplugs, you're going to get recoil reduction, you're going to shoot better and it speeds it up. Everybody wants a silencer.
Right. Absolutely.
Everybody wants a silencer.
Well, and then what you were saying earlier is if you get one and you're all of a sudden you're telling your buddies, and if you have a group of friends who are hunters or shooters and they don't have silencers, and then there's the one that gets one, everybody goes, wait a minute, now I really want this. I didn't even realize I needed it.
Totally. No, totally. Yeah. I ran into a guy the other day at a swim meet. My daughter swims and he's like, hey, remember me? And I go, yeah. I said, he bought for me like 15 years ago. And he said, yeah. And every one of my friends said, I'll never buy one. Too long of a process, too expensive. He said, it's like 12 guys. He said, they all own one now.
Yeah.
Fast forward 10 years. They all wanted one after they see me shoot it. They see me have more fun. And you'll see guys at shows and they'll be like, well, I would never use it. I don't shoot that much. And I'm like, after you put it on, you're going to start shooting more and you're going to like the sport more. And they'll come back to later at the show the next year and go, you're actually right. I do shoot more. It's more enjoyable. It's just I don't have to worry about, do I have my ears on or my kids around? And, a lot of guys will justify buying one because they want to get their kids into the sport.
Yep. I was going to say that it's a wonderful way to teach anyone and get them started with shooting because it does reduce recoil and it does make it quieter. And I think the quieter, the less blast is less perceived recoil for people. Right. And it's not really maybe a recoil thing. It's just the being nervous of the explosion, the blast of the gun. All of a sudden, whether it's kids or women or any new shooter, it just takes a little bit of that away.
Totally. Yeah. And I think guys will tell the wife, well, let's get it. And the kids will like it. And it's probably just for them. But once they do shoot, they're like, wow, the kids did enjoy it. It was better than even we thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Remington Ammunition. Remington's Golden Saber bonded defensive and tactical handgun ammunition features a lead core hot bonded to a brass jacket. That means it holds together in those adverse conditions of shooting through barriers and stuff like that, and always is going to perform. Also, you get great weight retention, unmatched expansion. It's made in the USA, available in 4 popular calibers. Check it out, remington.com/handgun. Also by Armscore Rock Island Armory. So Rock Island Armory's newest pistol is the STK 100. This is a 17-round capacity, solid aluminum frame, which gives you the advantages of a metal pistol, but for the price of polymer. The STK 100 features an optics-ready slide and an extended beaver tail. Find out more at armscore.com. And by Safariland, their 575 IWB holster designed to fit multiple firearms in one holster. It now slim fits Glocks, Springfields, SIGs, MMPs, those micro compacts. The 575 is optics capable, fully adjustable, and it has a grip lock safety system for kind of extra security. But you can check it all out at safariland.com. And when you enter GunTalk20Q3 for 20% off, you can save money that way. Hodgdon has a passion for shooting and hunting. I know the Hodgdon family. They've been at this for decades, and they're really, honestly, probably the biggest and most experienced of all the reloading companies out there, and supply all the powder for what you need. Innovations like black powder substitutes, muzzle loading pellets, of course, smokeless powder. And the big deal is, if you're trying to get into reloading, they have a reloading data center. So go to hodgsonreloading.com and you can find out all this information about, okay, I want to load 9, or I'm looking to load 223, and I was thinking about this bullet. They'll have the instructions and the recipes there for you. So check out hodgsonreloading.com. Now, where do people mess up? What are the common mistakes that you see? Because there are certain things as far as direct thread,
right,
cleaning it. You've got QD attachments. There's different ways to attach it to your gun. And then, of course, the different types of guns where it really excels. But, I mean, you guys, I know you do a bunch of customer service calls. Are there some common ones that tend to come up each week or month?
Yeah, good question. So I think one mistake that most people make is they don't use a trust, because your local dealer will tell you don't need a trust because typically the paperwork's harder on them. So that's the hard part. We meet a lot of people at shows that go, gosh, I wish I'd done a trust. And typically we say, hey, if you buy one from us today, we'll put your others in that trust for you.
Oh, wow.
And the benefit of the trust, of course, is you can pick who gets it when you pass away. We usually keep it vague. It just says all lawful heirs per state law. So it could be a great grandkid you don't even know exists yet.
Sure.
And then also it allows you to share it with other people that are 18 or older. So if you have somebody that you want to go hunting with, but maybe you couldn't go that day, if they're on your trust, they could take it while you're not there.
What's involved in adding someone to the trust?
Yeah, good question. So our insight is that we would only put the primary buyer, on the trust. And then once it's approved, then we would add anyone you want at no charge. We basically have a template that's sort of plug and play. It helps you add someone else on there. The benefit of adding someone else later is there's no background check. And not that we're trying to encourage people not to get background checks. It's just, if you submit to the ATF a trust with 20 people on it, it's going to take forever to get approved because they have to vet each person.
Sure.
And we know based on statistics that 35% of people have to have a manual review. And if you have 20 people in a trust, it's going to add 3 or 4 months for those people that need the manual review. So it's better just to go through as one person. Once it's approved, we help you add additional people to it. So it's basically a stroke of a pen. Think of the trust as almost like a corporation. You're adding someone else to it. So it's not that difficult.
So I've got the Banished 30 on order.
Yeah.
And I just did this process with you guys.
Perfect.
And it's pretty incredible of how you've put this together to try to make it easy. Because, I mean, it's true. Like you said, people go, I don't know, I got to fill out paperwork and I got to submit this and this and this. But just walk someone through, okay, if I want to go ahead and buy one from Silencer Central, how does this work?
Yeah, good question. So, there's really 2 ways. Someone could go directly to silencercentral.com, pick out which one they want. People like the idea of a 30 cal because they can use it on a lot of multiple calibers. That's something I didn't really mention earlier, is a benefit that you could buy one and use it on everything smaller.
Right.
So you could, do it over the internet, or you can call we have a full call center full of sales guys that, can help give you ideas, suggestions, feedback. And It's, both processes are the same. It doesn't cost more for one or the other. So essentially you would purchase it, and you can buy it, like we were saying, with Easy Pay, where you pay while you wait, or you can just pay for it all up front, whatever is easier for you. And then we're going to send you a form to fill out the paperwork. So we're going to send you the actual ATF paperwork, and we have a variance for the ATF to do that digitally. So we'll send it to you as like a DocuSign, and you would put your information in there. Then we're going to mail you the fingerprint cards, and we're going to send you like a little ink thing. So you can
send you the ink.
Yep. So you can do your prints at home. It's pretty easy. I mean, it got really popular during COVID because all the sheriff's offices, police stations were closed.
Sure.
And at least in where I live in South Dakota, even fingerprinting is Tuesday and Thursdays from 2 till 6. And
that's exactly how they do it here.
Yeah. Park at the courthouse and hope that the retired
cash.
Guy. Yeah. Just it's an asset. So that's why it works out really well to have we send you the fingerprint cards, we send you the ink, you do your fingerprints. Basically, that's what we need back is the fingerprints, and then we scan those into our system, and then we have them digitally in there forever. And then also we just need a 2x2 photo. Some people call it a passport photo. It doesn't have to be passport quality. It's a 2x2. Remember, the laws for this were created in 1934. So a lot of times people read into them differently than they actually are. But basically you just take your picture on your cell phone, a selfie on a white wall, and email it to us or upload it to us. And then we take the digital paperwork you signed, we take the fingerprint, the photos, we generate all your paperwork for the feds, and we submit it to ATF. And we send you a copy of your trust so that you have that on file. And then we do send you updates. So we'll send you, like as soon as we get your fingerprint cards, our staff will send you a text, say everything looks perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people forget something, like we need to know what state you were born in and things like that. So we'll text and ask that. We just find texting is so much easier for people to get back in touch with us.
Oh, sure.
And, then we submit the paperwork. We'll send you updates monthly saying, hey, we're still waiting. It should be soon. And then when it comes back approved, we alert you that the ATF has approved it. Again, we can also do the forms. We have a variance to do the forms electronically on the back end as well. So we'll do the forms there. And then once it's approved, it will ship from our location in the state where you reside. And it comes to your front door.
With a tax stamp.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Wow. And I always say the tax stamp, think of it as your title of ownership. It's basically that concept of the title transfer. It shows you're the owner of it.
It's pretty amazing, guys. I'm serious. Like, you guys have made it very easy. It's probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes of your time, but a lot of those steps are actually when you send the DocuSign link. I mean, it makes it, you just click. It's nothing. Where are we headed with ATF? And at one point we had these digital, and then it was gone, and now where are we headed with things right now?
Yeah, it's a good question. I know the industry's been tight-lipped because they don't want to talk about e-forms coming, afraid that it would stifle demand if people thought it was coming. So it's always the hard part. We're on a beta test, so we're part of the beta test that's working with the ATF to kind of give them feedback. So their goal is to get back to an all-digital Form 4. And of course, the Form 4 is the transfer from the dealer to the end user. It was in existence in 2014, 2015. And really, that's one reason why we started building our national network to be in all 42 states. So to have a physical location in every state so that when this does launch, that it just makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
And for us to be able to capture all the information with the variances we have digitally, it works really well in our process because in the beta testing of the e-forms, they have us upload your fingerprints, which is the same format we've been using for years. So just to be able to digitally upload your trust, upload your fingerprints, upload your photo, and then to help you do the ATF paperwork and submit it online digitally, we think is going to be an even better improvement because they did a time study, and I think they ATF touches the paperwork 52 times from once it leaves South Dakota because it goes to Oregon, they cash the check, the bank data entries it goes back to West Virginia, data entry, it sits in a pile. Yeah, so they touch it. To be able to put that back in a digital process will benefit everyone, ATF, the dealer, the end user, everybody.
They are experts in inefficiency.
Oh, totally.
The government.
Totally.
We're here to help.
Yes.
But they are working on this to get
and they
back
have the
to
funding.
digital.
Yeah, the whole funding is there. And, of course, it's the government too far as bureaucracy. But one of the big things was the database where all NFA weapons are in, like machine guns and everything, was my understanding was an old technology. So now they've upgraded it, put it in the cloud. So now it's easier to integrate with it. So that's the big fix compared to where it was last time.
And the big payoff is if we can get to digital, what's the time and processing probably?
That's a good question, because if you look at the Form 1s, which is when you make your own, say, SBR, they're at about 60 to 90 days.
60 to 90 days.
Yeah, so we anticipate it would be something like that when it does launch. So that would be nice.
That would be really cool.
Oh, yeah, that would be incredible. Yeah, because I think the biggest thing is the wait. And then, of course, having to put all the money up front, which we, try to fix with Easy Pay. But, yeah, it'll be great.
So we also get funny stories when it comes to silencers and stuff. I know one that we had somebody flying down to film with us, and I think he was from an optics company, but he brought a silencer to have on the gun to just whatever. And he travels with guns all the time.
Yep.
And he opens up the case, and I think he didn't even have a gun, perhaps. I think he had the silencer and he had some scopes, but he was declaring it. And they're like, well, what is that? He goes, well, it's a silencer. She goes, a silencer? Mm-hmm. Yeah, screw it on the gun, it makes it quieter. She goes, are you an assassin? He was like looking around the airport going, are you serious? Like, but that's the weird part about it, is because honestly, the silencer thing is we're still pulling from movies of what they think it's going to sound like, and who they think uses it.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, even me, I'm a pharmacist by trade. So, my kids go to private school and they ask, well, what does your dad do? I'm like, just tell them dad's a pharmacist.
I don't feel like explaining this.
Yeah. Don't tell them we're the largest silencer dealer in the nation with 42 locations. They'll be like, what? Yeah, no, I agree. There's still taboo there. My theory is that the more people that use them, they're voters. So that's just it's only gonna help get that education out there. And I know the American Suppressor Association's doing a great job of
they are
educating legislators. I know it's a long process. But I keep thinking to myself that the more people that use them, they're voters. And as more it spreads the word, it'll just only help. And as you continue to look at the criminal activity, and I always in the back of my mind feel like ATF's role is public safety. And if there's not really a public safety issue with it, I mean, they still have responsibilities to the federal legislation and what the laws say they have to do. But at the end of the day, it doesn't appear to be a public health issue. If anything, it's far from that, and ones that are obtained legally. So, the track record is going to speak for itself. I think that's why we've seen, since I've been doing it, several states have flipped from illegal to legal at state law. And we've seen a lot of states that used to be you couldn't hunt with them. Now, pretty much every state, with the exception of Connecticut and Vermont, you can hunt with a suppressor or silencer. So I think it's moving in the right direction, even though sometimes politically, nationally, or even a state level, it doesn't look like it is. I think that the data speaks for itself. And I think eventually it's just going to continue to get more and more popular. Like we said earlier, reduces recoil. You don't have to wear earplugs. It helps your accuracy and it speeds up your bullet. Everybody wants one.
It is a public health issue. It's hearing protection.
Totally, yes.
It helps protect people's hearing.
Totally.
And the other part and what you guys do and making it easy and helping, frankly, just more people get them is important because of the little phrase in common use.
Yes, totally.
I mean, if we can get more and more people to own these and use them, it normalizes it for everyone. Totally. It's not some 80s Jean-Claude Van Damme movie with an assassin.
Yes, agreed.
And, just imagine if 3 or 4 or 5 being a great number, Supreme Court justices own silencers.
True.
This is not a weird thing. This is not oh my gosh, what is this? It's important for people to own this stuff and be out there with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's kind of a word of mouth thing. I remember when I first started working gun shows, in the mid 2000s, pretty much everyone that came up thought they were illegal. So it was 100% education, and it's still, you think of gun shows, that's your smartest gun people, that's your assumptions.
These are the real into it gun people. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when they would come up and, that's illegal. And even, and I could see that maybe in Minnesota and Iowa where they were illegal at a state law for a while, but our home state of South Dakota, it seemed odd, but it's fixing over time. I think it's getting better.
Yeah. Getting the education out there.
Yes, definitely.
Well, very cool. I mean, if you don't own one yet, seriously, go look into this. I know Silencer Central makes it super easy, and probably what'll happen is you'll end up owning more and more, and it's going to be kind of almost to the point of where you go, why wouldn't we have this on pretty much every gun out there that I've got? It's just like putting optics on guns or whatever. It just makes the shooting experience better.
Yeah, totally. I don't think I've ever had anyone buy one who I saw the next year at the gun show. I didn't say, man, I'm glad you sort of pushed me a little bit to get into it. Cause after I got it, I love it. I mean, it changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably one of the cooler accessories you can get for your shooting. So check them out. Silencer Central, making it easy. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right. That's it for us on Gun Talk Nation.